Breaking news on ABC 17 News. Missouri auditor Tom Schweik has died. We are just joining a press conference live in Clayton, Missouri, suburban St. Louis, regarding his death. Right now, we know Schweik died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Let's join in.
Possibly self-inflicted in the 7100 block of Wydown Boulevard. The residence of Missouri State Auditor Thomas Schweik. Responding paramedics attended to the victim, who was identified as Mr. Schweik. Following on-scene treatment, Mr. Schweik was conveyed by Clayton Fire Department personnel to Barnes Trauma Center, where he was subsequently pronounced deceased from a single gunshot wound. Clayton detectives are conducting an investigation, and an autopsy is pending. That concludes the statement. I'll take questions now.
Chief Mike Rush for Channel 5. Does it look like a suicide?
There is nothing to suggest anything other than that at this point. We are conducting a thorough investigation, and we're doing what we would do in any similar circumstance. Everything at this point suggests that it is an apparent suicide.
And Chief, was there a suicide note?
I don't have that information at this time.
Is there anything he was facing that your department is looking into that might make him feel there was no way out?
No, sir.
Who else was in his home?
I'm sorry?
When your officers arrived at the scene, other than the auditor, who else was in the home?
There was at least one other family member in the residence at the time that we were called.
What family member was it?
I'm not going to discuss that at this point.
Did you say it was a shot to the head?
I didn't say that.
Was it a shot to the head?
There was a single gunshot wound, and I'm not going to be any more specific right now. There's an autopsy being conducted, and I'll wait.
What type of gun was it?
That also I won't talk about.
Chief, can you say if he had reached out to anybody through email or text or any way prior to this indicating what he was going to do?
This is part of our investigation. Family and friends we are talking to, and I want to make it clear that at this point, everyone is cooperating with our investigation.
Have there been other calls for police response to that address in the previous days or weeks?
Not to my knowledge.
Chief, was there any indication of drugs or alcohol out in the open at the scene at the time of the death?
I don't have that specifically available to me. I will say this, that that's something from an autopsy. We would learn that information, but I don't have anything to suggest that he did.
Can you say anything that just addresses the burning question of motive, or how you will go about determining motive at this point?
Well, that's what the investigation is for. We talk to family and friends and make our determination from that, and this is an ongoing investigation. Everything at this point suggests that the reason we were called there is the reason that it is what happened.
Have family members said anything that he had been depressed?
We're still investigating that, talking with family and friends, and I don't have that for your availability at this time.
Same goes, Chief, for any sort of history of mental illness that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Was the weapon his?
I'm not aware of that.
What type of weapon was it?
I'm not going to disclose that at this point. We're still conducting the investigation, and the autopsy is pending.
Is it, can we say, is it a pistol?
It is a handgun.
Chief, will you be investigating whether anyone was making any political threats to smear his name or release information that might have been behind something?
We don't have any evidence to suggest that at this point, but again, we do a thorough investigation, and that would include all information that we are told that we can develop through the course of our investigation, whatever that might give us. But I want to make it clear that everything we know at this time is that it is an apparent act at Mr. Schweik's own hand, and family is cooperating with our investigation. I'll take one more question.
I know you said it appears to be a suicide. How do you know it's not an accident or an accidental discharge of a firearm or someone handling a firearm? Maybe you can shed some light on that.
What we know at this point suggests an apparent suicide. Again, I'll take you back to what I said before. We conduct a thorough investigation. We talk to everyone who was there. We look for all the encompassing information from family and friends. We look at the autopsy results, and we go from there. And so we're moving forward with that information available to us.
You're still waiting on that?
Yes, my understanding is that that will be at 7:30 tomorrow morning.
Did he die at the house or at the hospital?
My understanding is that he was pronounced deceased at Barnes Trauma. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is Clayton Police Chief Murphy there addressing the media about State Auditor Tom Schweik. He has died in an apparent suicide, a single gunshot wound. There is an ongoing investigation, as he was saying there. There's no information, though, if Schweik left a note. Murphy did say it was a single gunshot from a handgun. Family members, he says, are apparently working with police for this investigation, and an autopsy is pending. Now, we all know Schweik just announced plans to seek the Republican nomination for governor in 2016. He was first elected as state auditor back in 2010 and just reelected in 2010. Like I said, just a month ago, in late January, reporting that he would run for governor. So this all comes as a great shock. And before becoming state auditor, Schweik had a distinguished career with the U.S. Justice Department, including as the justice reform leader in Afghanistan. He was also a fifth-generation Missourian and a graduate of St. Louis County Public Schools. He went on to an Ivy League education at Yale and eventually Harvard Law School. Today's state leaders are already reacting to the shocking news of Schweik's death. Governor Jay Nixon ordered all flags at Missouri state buildings to be lowered to half-staff to honor Schweik's passing. Nixon releasing a statement calling Schweik, quote, a brilliant, devoted, and accomplished public servant who dedicated his career to making Missouri and the world a better place. The Missouri Republican Party Chairman John Hancock also releasing a statement today saying, I am in utter shock at the news of Tom Schweik's tragic passing. Tom will be remembered as a tenacious, energetic, effective elected official who worked tirelessly on behalf of the citizens of this state. He asks all Missourians to join him in praying for Tom's family. And Senator Claire McCaskill, a Democrat, also expressing her condolences today. She says, quote, I am very sad and hurt so much for Tom Schweik's family. He was a good man and a dedicated public servant who served our country in so many capacities with distinction and honor. Hug those you love. And of course, this evening we will have live team coverage from St. Louis and the Capitol on Tom Schweik's passing. Our crews are stationed all over, and we will have a look at prayer vigils for Schweik, and we are looking into what happens next. Is there a plan in place for his successor? Complete wrap-up of today's events coming up on ABC 17 News at 5. Tom Schweik, dead today at the age of 54.
A little of the pain away.